Welcome to The Recovering Perfectionist, where you'll learn all the hacks you need to get started and finished on your business or project. You'll connect with successful entrepreneurs who are in perfectionist rehab, unapologetically experimenting and balancing life, business, family, and me time. I'm your host and Chief Recovering Perfectionist, Claire Barton. Hello, Recovering Perfectionists. It's Claire Barton and welcome back. I'm here with the gorgeous Caylie Price. We've finally gotten to chat. We've been trying to chat for quite some time and we're finally here. So, hey, thanks so much for coming on the show, Caylie. How are you going?
Thanks so much, Claire. It's great to be here. Yeah, we were going back and forth for a while, but we've made it. So.
We were. Here we are. We're finally here. We're both earringless because there was a bit too much static going on, but we are both here. So just in a nutshell, let me introduce what I know of Caylie. So Caylie came kind of back into my life probably about a year ago in one of the Facebook groups. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've been so girl crushing on you for such a long time. And I was trying to think while I was driving this morning, I think it's been probably 2 years ago when I first came across you, and there was someone else, I can't remember who, and you were doing an interview or a podcast or something like that. And I just really loved how you talked about business and your whole energy and that sort of thing. So I'm absolutely rapt that you are back. I know that you are the owner of Better Business, Better Life, and also you've created a beautiful program called Facebook Live to Thrive, which is super exciting and definitely what we're going to talk about today. I absolutely am a massive fan of anything that involves low price or free marketing strategies, and I know that's a big part of what you do with Facebook Lives and that sort of thing as well. So I can't wait to get all of your tips about that through the lens, as you talk about as well, of that imperfect action. So tell us a bit about you and your biz journey to start with and where you're at now, and then we'll jump into the beautiful Facebook Live stuff.
Sure. Well, look, I've been in business for a good while now, but basically it all started because I was actually managing a business incubator in a drought-stricken area, and everyone was going, buy local, and I'm like, guys, the local people don't have money to buy local.
Wow.
And it was when online marketing was just sort of starting to get traction. So I taught myself to be able to share with the other business owners, and then I went, oh, I really love this. Like, this is what I want to do. So ended up starting the business. But it was probably, I'm going to say 2 or 3 years ago now, that I had a webinar that I was doing with someone else, and we were out there promoting it, and I went, you know what, I'm just going to try Facebook Live. Sorry, that reminder popped up. I tried Facebook Live to promote it, and it just went off, and we're like, oh, hang on a minute, we're doing all these other promotional activities, and this one thing was getting more registrations than any other combined. So at that point, I went, okay, I should probably take some notes of this.
Yeah, cool.
So, look, it's interesting because, even yesterday, I'm back in Victoria for a week at the moment doing some one-on-one consults with businesses through Southern Grampian Shire. So doing it on behalf of the council, doing some consults. And everyone's like, Facebook used to be awesome. It used to be this, it used to be that. I could get seen by people. You can't do it anymore. And I'm like, well, actually, guys, hang on a tick before you rule it out.
Back it up.
Let's back up that truck. Video is awesome. Live is even better, in the sense that Facebook is putting that priority in terms of the algorithm and getting seen and getting the reach on Facebook Live. That's where they want you at. And the other side of it is pre-recorded video is great because you can batch it and do some in advance and have a few so you're going to have that consistency. But Facebook Live gets on average 6 times the engagement that a pre-recorded video does. So, that engagement is what gets us the reach. It gets us seen. So it's a really great opportunity, especially when it's free. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I'm a bit of a Facebook Live nerd now. I love it.
All right. So why is it, do you think, if we talk about it from a consumer point of view to start with, why is it that Facebook loves the live version rather than even pre-recorded video? Obviously, video is a big thing, but why the live? What's the live aspect? What's the catch straw there?
Even though I'm a huge proponent and I teach online marketing, so I kind of like it. I know that you can't beat face-to-face interaction, but we can't all be in the same place at the same time. the next closest thing you can get is Facebook Live, because you've got that opportunity excuse me, to have a conversation in real time. Like, people can be asking questions and you can answer back in real time. And I think the thing that people really love about it is that there's no way to hide. Like, with video, you can be super polished, you can practice it and get it all nailed down so you're looking fantastic. People love real, they connect with real. Like, being able to interact with us and see what we're really like in real time means that, you know, we're approachable suddenly. It's not this big scary thing that, you know, they're super polished and, you know, we can't approach them because they're too big or too important for us. We're just another person, and people love connecting with that.
Yeah, interesting.
We can't hide behind the camera. We are in front of the camera, but we can't hide behind it as such.
Do you know, it is a really funny thing, and I think that I completely agree with you. It's about the connection and the authenticity, and not just the hashtag Instagram authenticity. It's like, I'm a real person. I'm really sitting here. I was on a Facebook Live last week, and I had to I was on a webinar, actually. I was running a webinar, and I had to get up and come and open the door because my dog was scratching at the and that was more distracting than having him inside, sort of thing. So, you know, that sort of thing. Or, you know, people are always like, oh my gosh, I was just doing a Facebook Live and my kid came in, or someone knocked on the door, or the phone rang, or whatever. And I think, awesome. Like, I get so excited about that sort of thing, because I think, A, that's awesome that you did it and you didn't delete it and you're telling us that it happened. There's a massive block that's been overcome for people to be able to get to that point. For most people, some people just, you know, water off a duck's back, doesn't really matter. But most people find it really daunting, and it's a very vulnerable space to be in, because, like you said, stuff goes wrong, and you might have bags under your eyes, or
life happens.
There might be something in the background going on. I was on one of the very first times I was on it was someone else's webinar, like a group call, and my husband had just got out of the shower and didn't realize it was when I was even new to online business. He just got out of the shower and walked behind me. Oh my gosh, that was my naked husband just walking behind me. But I couldn't do anything about it, and it was just hilarious.
It happens.
Like, oh well. Hashtag I'm a real person, and you know, poor old mate. So now every time I'm anywhere near my computer, he's like, he'll go and get dressed, or like,
I'm out of here.
I totally agree. It's the connection thing and that sort of thing. So in that sense, what are your kind of strategies, or what sort of things do you teach people to get over that fear of the imperfection, and the fear of like not having everything super polished, and not having your full hair and makeup and the most beautiful background, and, you know, all the ducks in a row before you start doing Facebook Live? What are some of the things that people can do to overcome that?
Yeah, look, first of all, I would say just realize that, you know, when we're super, yes, there's definitely a place for the super polished, you know, the Instagrams, the pre-recorded video, etc. Absolutely. But when we have the real, you know, life happens, Facebook Live, you get a real sense of who the person is, like we said before, so that if they're thinking about working with you and they sign on and you've got a great new client, they don't get a shock that you're not what the super polished is, because, you know, we've all got our best moments, but we all have some not so great moments too. And if they've seen that real person, they're all good. The other thing is, people come to listen to what you've got to say. Like, in the real world, we'd always have the beautiful background, etc. It doesn't matter, because they're listening to you, not to looking at you going, oh, you haven't had your eyebrows done this week. You know, like, I've seen a couple of people that I really respect and that are making multi-six figures, and they had like a grotty background, and they were doing a webinar, and they were teaching all about video. They didn't worry about it. It didn't stop them from getting sales. It doesn't matter. People want to hear what you've got to say. There's a reason they've joined. It's not to sit there and criticize what you're going to say and what you look like,
what you look like.
But a couple of other things, like, look at Marie Forleo when she started. Like, she's been doing a video every week for years. Go back and look at some of her early ones. She's not perfect either. Like, you get better with practice, but you've got to start somewhere. Like, and even I remember I did I was teaching about Facebook Live at a workshop. I think it was last year now, and I'm showing everyone, and I've forgotten that I had a Samsung phone, so I'm recording it sideways.
Cool.
And everyone gets on there to have a look at it and goes, oh, look what you
did you realize?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, oh my god, life happens. It didn't matter. But the other thing to note is you can actually practice completely in private the whole way through. Record it the lot. without anyone else ever seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, with your personal profile, how you've got the privacy settings, public, friends only, and then there's an option for only me.
Huh.
So you can change it to that. Practice the text, so you know the buttons you have to press, what you do to stop it, all that sort of stuff, without anyone ever seeing it. So you've got that opportunity. Yes.
Facebook Live hack.
My only thing about that is don't get stuck doing those practices. Maybe, you know, the first time you go live, do it a couple of times, run through. You'll never get it exactly the same anyway, but just get used to the tech and then get out there and do it, you know, for your page or a group.
Exactly. And I think one of the things that people are held back by in their head, and it's more of a mindset thing, but actually it's, you know, people talk about it in the way that, like, I'm not techie and I don't really know how to use it and I'm not very good on social media and all those sort of phrases that we're all used to hearing. And basically Facebook wants you to do this. Everyone wants you to do this. So it is actually super easy, and it's kind of just a BS excuse, unfortunately. But I agree. So have a bit of a practice. But I think one of the other things on the tech side of things is to realize, if you're going to try and do the beautiful, super structured and set up videos, they are a shitload more work than doing a Facebook Live and getting over that block.
Yes.
When you are trying to style a background, style yourself, get in the right lighting, have the script, all that sort of thing, that is a monstrous piece of work in itself, rather than jumping on and having a rant about something or talking about something that is a response. One of my favorite hacks to get people to start Facebook Lives is responding to a question. So you're not just like getting on there and having your own kind of you know, Claire moment or whatever. You're doing someone a favor because they've asked you a question, and it's easier to articulate it most of the time in words rather than typing it out, right? So that's a cool excuse. I remember the very first time I started doing videos, I was doing I think it was 10 days. It was called the hashtag 10-day declutter me challenge or something like that. And we had a bit of decluttering in like physical world, and a bit of virtual decluttering, and a bit of mental decluttering and all that sort of thing. And I sat down, and my favorite place back then to record was in my son's room, because he had all the beautiful artsy things on the background. Now it's all just full of Lego and goodness knows what else, so I don't really use it. But I had a really nice background, and I sat in there, and I promised everyone who'd signed up the daily videos will only be 4 to 5 minutes long at the most. And of course, when I recorded them, they were like 11 or 12 minutes. And I thought, that's cool, I can edit that down. And it took me 8 hours to edit the first video.
I know. And
I still was only down to about 8 minutes, and it was doing my nut. Like I'm pretty techie, but I just couldn't, it was driving me so crazy. And I thought, I've got 11, I think, of these videos. I had 10 daily videos plus the final one and probably an intro one as well. But I can't spend 8 hours on every single one of these videos. So I deleted them all, and then I just recorded them, and I said, one take, no fake, no notes, except for the title, what I was talking about. I had my little timer there, and they all were so much better because I had a bit of boundary, and I didn't have to worry about, I'm going to have to cut that out. Okay, what do I need to do? Do I clap twice, or do I shake? Or, you know, all that sort of thing. So when you actually give it a go, and it's kind of like a trust the process moment, like people have to give it a go to work out what they don't want to do rather than the other way around sometimes. But I guarantee if you start going into the whole thing, you're trying to edit your own videos and that sort of thing, it's way harder than just
too hard. Yeah, I can't edit videos. I don't want to learn how to edit videos. I'm like, nope, serve it up first go. Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you've hit on something really important there. Like, a lot of people go, okay, all right, I'll do it, but I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
And exactly. Think about, okay, what do your ideal clients come to you? What do they ask you all the time? What are they struggling with? Start there. That will give you so many topics to begin with. Or it could be, you know, I was talking to a builder and an accountant yesterday, and I'm like, let's think about it. What's on TV at the moment? House Rules is on you know, on a weekly basis. Go live once a week and talk about one of the projects they worked on, and, you know, why you would make that choice or you wouldn't do that. Use that media and what's happening and link it back, make it apply to what you're an expert in.
Totally.
Guaranteed to always have lots of things.
I agree. There's so many different excuses that you can use to do it. I also talk about to start off with any sort of video is if someone sends you something via Messenger, a question or something, jump on and do it there. Like it's you've got one person who's an audience. It's very safe. You've probably already started a conversation with them, and it's really connective. There was, and I remember the light sort of twigged for me a long time ago when this happened, and someone had said, I really want to work with you, and she made the decision, and then she backed off and was like, oh, actually, I'm not sure. And then she came back and said, actually, I really want to work with you. And then she came back and she basically said, I'm not sure because I don't want to put you out because I've got a little baby and I don't know if I'll be able to stick to the times, and I don't know, like he might get sick, and like she really felt this overwhelming potential guilt factor. So I thought there's no point in me keeping on saying, it's okay, I understand, I'm a mum too, I get it. I was like, she actually needs to hear this. So I jumped on and I said, babe, I get it. I have cancelled more times in the last 3 years than I have in my entire life since I've been a mum. I totally get it. If you have to cancel, like, it's totally fine. And also, you're probably doing me a favour because I probably have, put off cancelling as well. So literally, it's not an issue, right? And she was like, oh my gosh, thanks so much. And then we worked together and it was fine. But you just having that, exactly what you said before, a conversation, a connection about the response rather than just keyboard warrioring it. It's a totally different energy. And I talk about this all the time with workshops and with touch points and that sort of thing, that you can make an first impression when you first meet someone. Would I work with you? Do I get you? Are you my person? Are you the sort of like person I want to hang out with or not? Right? You make that face to face straight up. Whereas online, it's something like 111 points of contact people need to have with you before they can make that decision.
Exactly. So, and you're taking all those barriers away. Speed that gap up.
I love it. Awesome. So tell us about some of the other ways that your clients or that you use Facebook Live as opposed to things like Facebook ads or other paid marketing and that sort of thing.
So just a couple of examples of my own clients. What I do is I get them to collaborate with other people quite a lot. So, for example, one of my clients is a skincare specialist in Newcastle, and she's an expert in her field. She's been, I think it's cornea therapist of Australasia, 6 years running, but she's paired up with Oprah's facialist last week and interviewed her. I know. What? And Robin's got like 500 likers. But the organic reach from that by pairing up and working together was over 4,000 reach. She had over 100 comments. So bringing in someone else and sharing your audiences, like you and I have quite similar views on things, but we're not competitors. We specialize in our own way, but we also can both help our clients, bringing those other people in and bouncing off each other's viewpoints and sharing that is a really, really powerful way to use Facebook Live. And then what we've actually done is video is working, so as in the recording from Facebook Live is working really, really well. If you then want to boost it with Facebook ads, we just did a simple campaign. We know her audience is between 25 and 34, females within 50 Ks of Newcastle. So that was what we used as our targeting, and we were getting 10-second views for 12 cents per person, which is awesome. But the even better thing is that if we want to advertise in the future, we can target just the people who have watched video. And because they've watched 10 seconds, we know they haven't just scrolled past like a lot of traditional ads. They've actually had to stop and look at it to be viewing it for that long. So we know it's a warm audience. It's really awesome. Cool.
So it's part of that retargeting kind of...
absolutely.
Strategy. Awesome.
Exactly. But then, I've got another client, Katie, who's a fertility specialist, and she runs a challenge around that. The first time she did it, she didn't use Facebook Live, and she got her registrations. The second time she did it, she did 3 Facebook Lives, and she tripled her registrations just by having that extra reach and that engagement. And now it depends what you specialize in. Like, fertility is obviously quite a sensitive topic, and people don't necessarily want to comment a lot because they don't necessarily want to be identified as having those challenges. But the fact that they can watch Katie, see what she's like, know her personality, they'll very quickly decide whether they feel they can trust her and work with her versus, like you said, all those touch points with text and photos etc., where they don't get that real feel, because so much of our communication is body language that you can't get from written.
Yeah.
So yeah, really, really powerful stuff. So looking at those launch series, I really encourage people to do, you know, for example, one Facebook Live a week for that consistency and being visible, etc. But then you can use it really well for launches and working out a strategy there, or for collaboration to build your audience.
Awesome. So can we just talk quickly about repurposing, and then
Yes.
I also want to talk about if you have a strategy for consistent like a consistent time, and almost like having it sort of like a podcast. If we come back to that, but tell me about the repurposing stuff, because that's really interesting to me. I do upcycling blogs. I hate the idea of doing anything and then, you know, sharing it once and then leaving it there to die. I just don't get the point of creating stuff like that. I am a little bit lazy and I want to get as much mileage out of everything as possible. So in terms of Facebook Live, I see sometimes people do, I think it's usually set up on Zoom or some other sort of casting software, and then that gets cast into a Facebook Live, and then they use it on a podcast and all that sort of thing. Is that getting super techie? Is that like next level, or is that doable for most people?
No, really doable. So with my clients, I'll say to them, do your Facebook Live, download it, upload it to YouTube. YouTube's the second largest search engine after Google. Let's take advantage of that.
Okay.
And you can put all your keywords in there, so it really helps narrow down who's coming to watch it. Then embed it from YouTube into your blog post and have it transcribed. So that's a blog post, your blog post for the week. Already done. Yeah. And then, you know, you can take short snippets out for Instagram stories, or you can take little quotes and make image quotes out of it. You can repurpose it so many different ways.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. I can see the yeah,
it's speaking that language.
But you know, and then if you use a scheduler, something like Recur Posts, well, you can just have that cycling through in your library, and it's there. It's great content that you can use over and over again.
I love it.
Work once, make it pay many times.
Girl after my own heart. I completely love it. All right, so let's go back to talking about having it almost set up like a show, for example. So I know I've tried it once. It didn't quite work, mainly because I just couldn't get my own shit together, and I wanted to do it, say on I think it was a Wednesday night. And I said, you know, 8 o'clock every Wednesday night. But of course, like clockwork, my children go to sleep at 7 o'clock every night, except for Wednesday. And that's what they insist on. Another wee and another drink of water and another cuddle and another story.
Mum, I'm cold, and Mum, I'm
hungry. It's always on a Wednesday. So I was like, you know what, this just isn't going to work. And I didn't really feel, I had other priorities basically, and I didn't feel that it was a priority to do it during the day. At a time when I didn't have as many audience members on and that sort of thing. So, but I have seen it work really well for some people, like who do every Wednesday night or every whatever it is, and they almost market it like a mini launch on, say, the Monday and Tuesday, like Wednesday night I'm going live and I'm talking about such and such, and they kind of have like a little mini campaign every week. And it seems to work really well. So I'm very keen to bridge that gap and to share with people, does it work? Is it a thing? Do people tune in? Is it kind of still a bit hit and miss with who rocks up? Or talk to us about that sort of stuff.
Yeah. So a couple of things about that. First of all, if you are thinking and you're able to, and for some people it's not realistic to have the show at the same time every week, but if you can do that, start by looking at your Facebook insights to see when the most people that your likers are on Facebook logged in, so that you've got a better chance of reaching them. And the beauty of it's like a TV series. Like, think of my teenage years. Friends was on at, say, 7 o'clock every night. You could bet your life I was ready at 7 o'clock because I was trained into that. Like, we become trained to sit down and watch our favourite show whenever it might be on at the same time every week. So there's real value in that. And, you know, if you can do it, fantastic. But don't let that stop you from doing it.
Yeah.
You know, better to go live when you can and get that opportunity and have that fun, spontaneous nature, and that can work really well. Like the one thing about spontaneous, you know, if, like you said, someone sends you a question that comes in, or, you know, you've been having a discussion with a client, you're like, oh, that'd be, jump on, have a bit of a rant about it. Like people love that passion. So don't let it hold you back from going live in the first place.
Yeah.
I think, it comes back again to that letting go of perfection. Like in an ideal world, that's it. You know, that weekly show is brilliant.
Okay.
But it's not everything. Don't let
sure.
that be the reason that you don't use Facebook Live.
Is there too much? Can you do too much Facebook Live?
Look, I think it's good to have a mix of like your text and image posts, your pre-recorded video and your live, because, you know, for a start with being a girl that's come from a regional area, I know that there's a lot of people that just don't have internet good enough to be able to watch live. So having that mix and catering to all of your audience is good. Some people prefer to read. Awesome, you know, and that's why when we repurpose, we go from the recording on Facebook to YouTube to embed it in our blog post with the transcript, because then that's catering for your whole audience. So I think it's good to still have a balance, but the most important thing to think about is, okay, however often I decide, whether it's once a week, whether it's once a fortnight, it's better to do it less but do it consistently than to do 5 and then be forgotten for the next month when you haven't had a chance to do it. But again, you know, if you've had that month where you haven't been able to, that's life. It happens.
Yep.
Jump back in. Don't let that hold you back.
Yeah, that's right. I'm just giving you a virtual high five here.
Yeah.
Because I'm a massive fan of consistency is better than perfection. And I talk about that in all sort of things, especially social media. So, you know, if you're not doing regular posts on Facebook, don't go for 3 a day straight up. It's not, you know, you'll do that for 2 weeks and hate your life and get off Facebook and go again.
And that was the last time you do it.
Exactly. So, you know, whatever is kind of the next step. So if that means doing it once a month or once getting 3 posts of any type onto your Facebook page, say 3 times a week or something like that, then once that's happening and you've got a consistent system and some consistent content and you've, you know, kind of nailing that, go for 4 times a week or go for once a day or something like don't go from 0 to hero if that's not accessible for you and you haven't got a team helping you pretty much. Or if it's not your passion and you don't want to spend 2 days every 3 months doing it. Like, you know, everyone's got a different way of what it works, but I completely agree. Consistency is way better than anything else. Pretty much.
And look, one of the things I say is like, brainstorm, sit down, set some time aside, sit down and brainstorm a bunch of topics and just write a dot point outline for each of the topics. You know, yes, Facebook Live means you have to be there and present in the time, but that doesn't mean you can't have all the prep done and, you know, like you've got planned out Tuesday night's going to be this topic, the next week it's going to be X, and match it up to whatever promotions you're doing, you know, depending on what you trying to think of an example, like skincare. If you're doing a launch about teen acne, well, make your Facebook Live topics in the lead up to that related to, you know, the myths around teenage acne, the common mistakes people make. And that's actually addressing the hurdles that prevent people from investing in the lead up. So when it's time to launch, they're like, sign me up.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I love, you know, when I teach content strategy, there's kind of the 2 sides of it. And one of them is very general and we kind of cycle through all of your different categories or pillars, people call them sometimes. And on the other side, it's more campaign specific, which is what you're talking about. So whatever you're launching, that's kind of the central anchor for your content. So that could be your blogs, your newsletters, your Facebook Lives, your Facebook page posts, all of that sort of thing. And the other thing, the part of that I think is a really important part of the Facebook Live, but I'd love your take on it as well. It is having some sort of call to action after every one of them.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't have to be a, you know, sign up here for this
buy this
course. That like that. It could be as simple as like this if you liked it, comment, tag someone if you think it's going to help. So it's something that's quite passive and quite easy for people to do in the moment. It could be, if you want more information, click on the link in the comments to go and read the blog, and then after that there might be another call to action for a content upgrade or to join your newsletter or something like that. And it could be something like, you know, if you're running a special, then there can be something. So there's lots of different options, but I think it is pretty important to have some sort of call to action. Maybe not on every single one. You don't want to sound too pitchy or gross like that, but people need to be told what you want them to do, or they just be like, oh yeah, that was nice, and keep going. So, you know, and I find even myself, if someone says, if you've enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up, I'm so much more likely to actually click on the thumbs up because they've just told me to do it, rather than go, Oh, that was nice. I'm more inclined to share something if I really like it than I always forget to do the like and comment. And that sort of thing. Probably more helpful anyway. So
and
it's not pushy to ask for, like, to give people
hell no
about what you want them to do. So what's your take on calls to action?
Yeah, whenever you're going to go live, and I say go live, but this applies to all social media. Ask yourself, okay, what is the next step that I want the person consuming this, whether they're watching or they're reading, what's the next step I want them to do? And you're right, it doesn't have to be buy now every time. You don't want to do that, or people aren't going to tune in because like, oh, she's going to sell me again. But we're also really busy. Like, how often do we watch a Facebook Live while we're doing some other job? Like, we're multitasking. Always. So, you know, we're busy. We're focusing different ways. We need to have, like, no one's offended if you say to them, hey, look, if this was really helpful, or you know someone that could benefit from listening to this, or they're struggling with this, give them a tag or give it a share. Like, no one minds doing that. That's not a hard sell. That's just a gentle reminder, because we're doing so many things at once. It just brings us back and we get the value from it. Like, it actually cements that for us.
Awesome.
So,
all right. One last super practical question, because this is something that people are always asking. Is there an ideal length for Facebook Lives?
Okay. So Facebook Live says if you go over 10 minutes is ideal, in the sense that that gives them an opportunity to share and spread it out, or get you more reach with your audience. I would say to you, ideal. Especially if you're teaching something, like if you're sharing your knowledge on a particular topic, awesome. I also know that when we're starting out, that's super confronting, going, 10 minutes, how am I going to fill that? And you don't want to keep talking, like, there's nothing worse than someone babbling and not actually, you know, giving you value. You're better off to do a 2-minute one, get in, get the value out there, get your message across, and then stop.
I agree.
Than to keep going much longer and trying to fill that white noise. And the thing is, you stay top of the news feed, or, you know, the algorithm supports you even after you finish going live. So it's not like, okay, if they don't come while I'm live, they're not going to see it.
Sure.
You're still getting that support from Facebook. So, definitely think about it. Okay, I'll go as long as I need to get my message across and provide that value. And whatever length that is, that's awesome. It doesn't matter. That said, if you're doing a bit of a longer one, I have a terrible memory. So I jot out some bullet points, and I'll say to my guys, hey guys, I've got my bullet points here. Because one of the things we all freak out about is, oh God, what if I go blank? What if I go blank?
Yeah.
Well, again, we're human. That happens. I'll say, hey, I've got my bullet points here. So I cover all the things I want to share with you today, because I want you to get the best value out of it. So I don't want to miss something important. My brain, sieve, you know.
Oh, no, I'm the same. And how many times I've gone, right, guys, I'm going to share with you today the 3 top tips for such and such. I do the first 2 and I'm like, oh God, what was that? I have no idea what the third one was. I might have already said it combined with number 1 or 2, but I'm not 100% sure. So here's my dog. How cute is he? Like, whatever.
See this? Look at this.
Yeah. But yeah, exactly. I agree. You don't have to. I know. I think with 99% of people who read a script, you can tell that it's a script. And
don't read the script.
But bullet points are totally acceptable.
Get you back on track,
very, very
and they
smart.
get the value.
Get back on track, and it also keeps some boundaries so that you don't go off on tangents. Because nothing, like as you said, if you go off on a tangent and you start talking about waffling and all that sort of thing just to fill time, or just because you forgot what you were going to say, there's nothing worse, and people will see right through it. The whole idea of doing these Facebook Lives is to be connective and authentic and to give value, right? So the other thing, I'm just going to do a shout out, I'm sure you'll agree with me, is if you jump on and you're going to talk about something that is a tip, don't spend the first 5 minutes talking about yourself.
And one of the, exactly,
like introduce yourself, of course, but don't do the whole, I'm not going to talk about myself for half an hour and then talk about yourself for half an hour. Because
absolutely. The first thing before you even introduce yourself, tell them why they should care. Why should they listen in? What's the benefit to them? What value are they going to get from it? Then super short intro. The other thing, please, especially when Facebook Live was new, was people would get on and they'd go, I'm just going to wait for a couple of minutes until some people show up. Don't do that. You're an expert in your field. Get on and give you value, especially because you don't want people coming to the replay and go, oh, I've got to wait 2 minutes, or I've got to fast forward 2 minutes to get to what you're actually talking about. Get in, be the expert, share your stuff, and then get off.
And what about answering questions real time? Because I know some people say it really puts them off when they're, watching something and someone's talking and then they keep saying, oh, hi, Michelle. Oh, hi, Barbara. Oh, where are you? Oh, okay. But, that can be really distracting.
Yeah.
I find when it's me, I really like that interaction, and I feel like that's kind of the point. But I'm definitely stuck between a bit of a rock and a hard place there. So is there a rule around that, or?
So my answer to that would be, if you imagine you're speaking face to face, and you're in a crowd and people are coming past, do you turn away from the person you're talking to say hello to every single person that's going past? No, you might shout out to a couple and say good day to be friendly, but you're not going to stop the conversation every time.
Yeah.
Same goes with the questions. When you're first starting out with Facebook Live, it might be really confronting to try and check the questions and keep talking on message, etc.
Yeah.
If you don't answer them live, that's okay. Even say to them, hey guys, I want to make sure you get value from this, so I'm going to share. But pop your questions in the comments, and I'll either address them at the end of the video, the Facebook Live, or I'll come back to them later.
Awesome.
And then once we get more confident, we get more practice with Facebook Live, you naturally start to do it anyway. So it's really good. It's great to have that engagement because you really acknowledge the person.
Yeah.
But better to stay on track and get your message across than stress too much about that.
Okay, beautiful. I know I said about 3 questions ago, last practical question, but I just keep thinking.
That's okay.
Is there a better or worse way of doing it in terms of using a desktop versus a phone?
Look, a couple of things. Android stinks for trying to get landscape. Long and short, I know because I own a Samsung.
Yeah, right. Is landscape better generally or not?
Yeah, landscape's better because it fits nicely on your screen, so you don't have those black down the side, either side of your video, and also works really nicely for YouTube. So in an ideal world, always go the landscape if possible. Again, don't let it stop you doing it. But also think about, okay, how can I get it most steady? So if you can get your laptop, so the camera's a little bit above eye line, it's really flattering. I have a lot of double chins. It's nice and flattering. But it's also better for the viewer because there's not wobble distracting them. If you're doing a walkthrough, so obviously you've got to carry your camera, people are going to accept that. They're not going to think about that because you're moving. But if it's more that delivery to camera type scenario and the teaching the conversation aspect, then, whatever your preference is, just try and make it nice and stable.
Okay.
And it doesn't have to be fancy equipment. Like, I know a lady, one of my clients, that uses her kid's teddy bear to hold her camera.
Yeah.
Because that's a good angle for her and it keeps us still. You don't have to invest big money to get started.
I completely agree.
Use what you've got.
Mostly I'm doing it in my kids' rooms when I'm doing podcasts especially, because there's the soft furnishings and that sort of thing, like all the cushions and blankets and whatever other rubbish they've got on the floor and carpets and all that sort of thing. And I'm the same. Sometimes I'll sit on my daughter's bed and we've got this like IKEA wooden step that sits over the top of my legs on the bed with a couple of cardboard boxes on top of that to put my laptop on.
Yeah, reams of paper are another great thing. The books, stack of books, I've done that.
Yeah, I'm totally a fan. Even rubber bands and broken tripods seem to work. So I have this big camera from, when we used the old traditional cameras. So I've got a tripod from that. And if I use my phone, I have it off the handle that you move the angle of the original camera with tape around it. It's totally a thing.
It works.
Very ingenious, very inventive. I love it. Awesome. Well, look, I honestly love this stuff. Obviously, the content and the Facebook Live and the digital strategy and all that sort of thing. And I could sit here and talk to you about it all day, and I'm sure we'll do it again soon. But wrap us up. Tell us how we can stay in touch with you. I know you've got a mini course that you'd like to share with us. How do we get a bit more Caylie Facebook Live love?
Yeah. So look, my website is betterbusinessbetterlife.com.au. But I've got a 3-day mini course, which is the fastest way to grow your business with Facebook Live. So if you're going, Facebook doesn't work anymore, jump in and grab that because it so works organically still. So the link for that is bit, so bit.ly as in bit.ly/FB for Facebook, live for live, obviously, and perfectionistas, because, we've got a bit of a theme going on here.
Awesome. And we'll totally
you'll link to it.
Yeah, we'll have links in show notes as well. And yeah, I will definitely be jumping on. I absolutely have adored this conversation. It's so practical and helpful, and hopefully helps everyone get a bit of a grip on any blocks they might have around. And I completely agree. I think that whole, getting consistent, jump on there, Imperfect Action, have a go. Facebook Live is so beautiful in that Facebook supports you in it, and also it's not forever. So if something stuffs up, you can delete it if you want to, but probably don't. But look, you've probably got a couple of days at best anyway before it kind of goes to the bottom of the pile. So do you know what I mean? It's kind of, it's there and it's vulnerable, but it's also not set in stone. So, it's definitely a block, and, any way that we can do to help people kind of get over that, we're completely up for, aren't we? We just
absolutely. So just as a little aside, I am a total tomboy, forgive me, but I am. So I sit there, I wear my trackies, don't all entrepreneurs do their trackies or their yoga pants?
Pretty much the only reason I became an entrepreneur, so I didn't in the morning.
My get dressed up for Facebook Live is I might think to put a pair of earrings in, and then it possibly wobbles against the microphone anyways and take them off. So don't ever let that idea of trying to be, look the right thing or whatever stop you. Just get in and have a go. And it's so fun.
Yeah, I agree. Love it. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I've absolutely... I love this conversation.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. I'm so glad that we finally got to chat about all of this stuff. And I'm sure we'll have you on again really soon. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
And that is absolutely it, my lovely. So I hope you've really enjoyed the episode. It was great fun recording that one, as it is with all of them. If you'd like to connect, I'd love to stay in touch with you. I have a beautiful Facebook group community at bit.ly/The Recovering Perfectionist Crew with all capital TRP and C. I have a massive goal this year to get 50,000 downloads on my podcast, and I've got a YouTube show as well. So I'd love for you to help me out if you can by either subscribing to the podcast on iTunes. So if you want to go over and do that now, that would be awesome. If you have a couple of favourite episodes, or if there's one favourite episode that you've really enjoyed, I would love you to share that with anyone who you think would get as much out of it as you have as well. And while you're in iTunes, if you can jump in and give it a review, that would be amazing. iTunes definitely helps out podcasts that have got some good ratings and reviews and some really interactive listeners. So I would really appreciate your help with getting to my goal of 50,000 in 2017. The show is also available over on YouTube. The links are always in the show notes, so you can head over there. So it's The Recovering Perfectionist on YouTube. There's a channel for that as well. So jump in and leave your comments. You can watch all of the episodes in video. So if you want to see what we look like and our crazy hand gestures and facial expressions and all of that sort of thing, absolutely jump in. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel show as well, and then you'll be kept up to date when there's some new episodes that come in there. So yeah, love your support. And if you want to shoot me an email, it's hello@clairebarton.com.au. Always happy to receive your emails and open up a conversation. All right, big love. I'll chat with you soon. Bye.